What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Good Wolf Project. I'm your host, Jerry Scarlato. Today, I want to talk to you about being the exception and not following the rule. I'm not talking about following the rules per se, although I'm kind of going to be talking about not following the rules. What I'm talking about here is the idea of being the outlier, the idea of being something different than what the rest of the world is and what the rest of the world is telling you to become. Instead of following the habits and behaviors and the standards and the limitations of everybody else around you, it's striving to become something different. It's giving you yourself the opportunity and a chance to become something different, to move into a different level of being instead of just following along with the crowd and doing what everybody else is doing. The idea of the exception and the rule is a very simple one. It's literally just being better. It's being not just different, because I'm going to explain the difference here in a little bit, but it's being different in a purposeful way so that you level yourself beyond what the general population and the rule of the population is doing, the way that they're living, what they believe, how they look, literally the behaviors that they have. Those are the things that we're trying to move beyond. That's becoming the exception and not living the rule. This idea of being the exception, not the rule, comes from science. In an experiment, whenever the normal outcome happens, that's called the rule. That's the rule of the study, the normal outcome, the thing that happens most often whenever they perform the study or perform whatever they're doing. The normal thing that happens, that's the rule. Every once in a while, something different will happen, and that's called the exception. So that's the difference between the two. Instead of being the rule, which may happen 10 times, it's trying to be the exception. It's maybe 1 out of 10, which, if you look at society, that's kind of the way that it is. The way that success in almost any aspect of life is distributed is the so-called bell curve. It's like an upside down U. Over on one side are the quote failures, the people who aren't doing well at all or not doing anything at all. And then the inverted U goes up and then comes down. The middle of the U is where most people sit. That's the rule. And then on the other side are the exceptions, the people who have surpassed the rule. They have done something different to get themselves to the other side of the curve, to the other side of the bell. They've literally gotten over the hump and then separated themselves from the rest of everybody else. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad thing to be part of the U, the inverted U. If that's what you want in life, that's what you want out of life, then that's okay. And there's certainly going to be areas of life where we all fit into the middle. That's most areas of our lives, because we can't be masters of everything, of course. We can't be masters of absolutely everything in life. However, we can be masters of ourselves. We can be masters of our domains. We can be masters of the things we have control of. And we have control over a lot of things that we don't believe we have control over. But being in the middle isn't a bad thing per se. However, I believe most people want to be better. I believe most people want to be closer to the exception than closer to the rule. They want to be further along on the bell curve than somewhere in the middle. Maybe not in every aspect of life. Again, most people talk about finances, and that's a great thing. We look at people with money and we look at them with disdain because it makes us feel better that maybe we're not as financially successful as they are. We look at them and we go, oh, well, they're greedy, or they stole all that money, whatever reason you want to give to it, because we're not there. Now, if you're just using it as a justification, then recognize that and recognize that that's keeping you from literally going over the hump and getting to the other side and becoming the exception instead of living the rule. But it's up for you to decide to do that. It's up for you to decide that you're going to become something different, that you're going to move to the other side of the curve, to get over the hump, to move into an exceptional part of life where you're in the 10% of people in the world. And here's the thing. Here's the crazy thing. Becoming the top 10% in anything in life is not as hard as people think. Is not as hard as people think. They think, oh, the top 10%, that's got to be tough. Getting to the top 1% is tough. That's challenging. But getting to the top 10% is not that hard. It's not like a 500% effort output difference. It's not even close. It's literally a couple of percentage points. That's all that it is. But most people fit into the average. And because of that, everyone looks around them and goes, well, everybody else is doing the same thing. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing so I can fit in. Getting to that 10% is not tough. It's not challenging. I am in the 10% of my category, my age category in health and fitness. I am in the 10%. I can say that definitively because you can knock off 80% just like that because 80% are overweight or obese, or pretty darn close to it, have some sort of medication or blood marker that is not deemed healthy. So you can knock off 80% like that. And then there's another 10% that, they do something, but they don't do a whole lot. So I can confidently say that because just look at my demographic. I'm 39 years old. So my age demographic is 35 to 39. I'm literally moving into the next one here in a couple months, in which case at that level, again, I'll be in the 10%. I'll probably be in the 7 or 8% at that point. But I can say that confidently because I can look and I can pull out those statistics and go, yeah, I'm pretty sure if I just look at it, I'm probably underestimating that I'm in at 10% and I'm probably higher. That's just stating a fact. And I'm not even sitting here saying that I am like massively in shape. It's literally because I've done a couple of percentage points more than the average person who even works out, who even trains, who even eats well. The average person who shows up regularly to the gym, I've done a couple of percentage points more than them. And that's gotten me to the upper 10%. And you can do that in any part of life. You can do that in any part of life. Now, here's the important part. This isn't about just looking different and being different, because in society right now, it is very trendy. This has kind of been the case for a couple of decades now, but it's very trendy to act different or just be different. Like literally maybe trying to be a different gender, or trying to color your hair to look different, or trying to have piercings all over your face to look different, or tattoos all over the place to look different. All that's fine if that's what you want. But that's not making you the exception in the rule. It just means you're still part of the herd. You're still part of the herd. You just look different. That's all. You still have the same behaviors. You still live in the same economical state. Your health is still the same. All of that's still the same. Like all the outcomes in your life are the same. You just look different. So that's not what we're talking about here. Again, if that's what you want, that's on you. It's going to make your life probably a little harder. It's going to make your ability to succeed in life probably a little harder, but that's okay. Like this, if that's what you want, that's okay. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about literally if we looked into your life, whatever aspect of your life we're talking about, for me, health and fitness, if you looked into it, it's exceptional. Again, not grand. I'm not sitting here saying I'm the fittest person in the world, but it's exceptional. It stands out from everybody else. That's what we're talking about, is looking into what you're doing and the outcomes that you've had, and then putting those two together and that being the exception, not the rule. Because again, the rule in health and fitness and in life for a lot of people is mediocrity at best. So you have to decide if you want to go over that hump, get over the hump and get to the other side. move toward the other side, to move in that direction, even. And you have to give yourself a chance to do it. And the only way you give yourself a chance is by deciding to do it, by deciding to overlook everything, almost literally everything that is believed in the general population and in society. Be willing to look at it and go, is that true? And when it's not, and most of the time it's not, being willing to find another truth, to seek another truth. That is so important because so many people aren't willing to do that because we like to feel accepted. And since most people fit in the middle, that's what happens. We fit in the middle. We squeeze in the middle. We like to be accepted. We like to be part of a crowd. We like to be part of the group. It's not, I'm telling you, like once you start to change your life, and if you've done this or you're there already, if you've done this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Once you start to change your life, people push back, people reject you. It's not a good feeling. It sucks, but it happens. So you have to be prepared for that. It's tough. And since humans are herders by nature, we want to be together. We want to feel accepted by people. We want to feel part of the group. We just stay the same so that we can continue to feel part of the group. That's what we do. That is what we do. So you have to fight that tendency. You have to fight that urge to continue to just be comfortable being a part of the group. If that's what you want, and I believe most people want something better. If you are telling yourself there's no place in your life that you don't want something better, you are lying. You are lying to me and to yourself. You are saying it because you want to be comfortable, because you want to be okay being mediocre, because it just feels comfortable, which is a very dangerous place to be. Like I said, getting to the other side of the curve, getting the other side of the bell, it's not, yes, it is hard, but it's very simple. It's hard because there's going to be a lot of obstacles you're going to have to overcome. There's going to be a lot of grief you're going to have to overcome. A lot of changes you're going to have to make. A lot of that. There's going to be a lot of that. But it's simple in that it's just a number of very simple things that you have to do. All of which requires you to ignore what society is telling you, to literally ignore it. You literally just have to shut it off. Like put a screen in front of society and pretend like they're not saying anything to you. That's what it's going to require. It's going to require you to not pay attention to what they're saying, to what society is telling you, to what you're hearing on the news, to what you're seeing on social media, to what your friends are telling you to do. Because what it requires contradicts most of what society tells you. And here's what it requires. It's very simple. Very simple. Hard, it's hard. But there's a difference between simple and hard. Hard just means it's going to take effort. That's what that means. It means there's going to be things that pop up. There's going to be obstacles. It's going to be mentally challenging. There's going to be a lot of things that you just question along the way. But it's simple. There's not a lot of steps. Not a lot of things you have to do. Not a lot. It's very simple. It's just a number of very basic things you have to do. Here's literally the equation. Like, what will get you to being the exception instead of living in the middle, instead of living in the middle of that bell curve with everybody else? What will get you there? Very simple. Your behaviors times effort done over time will make you the exception and not the rule. Your behaviors, changing your behaviors, putting effort to them, and doing that over time will make you the exception and not the rule. Let me explain a little more. Yes, it is literally that simple. It's literally that simple. It doesn't seem right, but it is literally that simple. Your behaviors. An example, nutrition. Simplest example I can give because everyone can understand it. Nutrition. Everyone knows what to do. I believe most people know. If I came to you and I asked you, how should you start to lose weight? How should you start to eat so that you lose weight? I'm pretty sure you could tell me two or three very effective things to do. So you know them, but you're not implementing them. They're not your behaviors. Your current behaviors are going and having fast food or having a mocha latte or whatever the overloaded thing at Starbucks is, or having just eating out regularly, eating out of a box, having a bag of potato chips every night. Those are your behaviors. If those are your behaviors, you're going to evolve into those behaviors. You're going to start to look like a bag of chips. So when you change your behaviors to the things that you know you should do, and you know them, when you change them, that's step one, behaviors. What are the behaviors you need to change? Start to change them, move them in the direction that you know you should do. Start to exercise, quit eating potato chips, quit drinking soft drinks, start to eat whole foods, eat protein at every meal, doing things like that. Start to change your behaviors. Bam, got it. Multiply that by effort. How much effort are you putting into those things? Are you just having protein at one meal? Are you only eating a bag of chips? You know, are you leaving it out of your diet only on Mondays and you're still eating a bag of chips every other day? So are you putting in half-assed effort or are you putting in full effort or are you putting in somewhere in between? If it's half-assed effort, you're going to get half-assed results. If it's somewhere in between, you're going to get in between results. If you're putting in full effort, you're going to get full results. It's that simple. It is that simple. So we have behaviors, and then we have how much effort you're putting in. How hard are you trying at it? How consistently are you being at it? And then doing that over time. And by time, I mean forever. That doesn't mean you're not going to have to change something from time to time. You're not going to have to change a behavior from time to time because certainly when you're trying to lose 100 pounds, you're going to start something and you'll make a lot of progress and then you'll stop. And then you'll have to change something and then you're going to make more progress and then you'll stop. And then you'll change something and then you'll make more progress and then you'll stop. And that's the way that it works. But if you keep going, you're going to get to losing 100 pounds. That's not a question. That'll happen. If you put those three things together, behaviors, effort, over time, you'll get what you want and you'll become the exception. You'll get in the 10%, you'll be in the 20% in no time. And you'll get in the 10% much quicker than you think. Much quicker than you think. So quit making things complicated. Quit convincing yourself that you're okay with being in the middle because that feeling of angst that you have deep down inside when you think that's the internal you that needs some drive, that needs some progress. That's going, fuck that. I ain't okay. I'm not okay with that. That's the internal you trying to come out and say something, trying to come out and tell you that I'm not okay with it. I'm not okay with it. But you have to listen. You have to start listening to yourself and quit freaking listening to everybody else around you. Because that, my friends, is what keeps people from making progress. Is they're too damn busy listening to everybody else and not busy enough listening to themselves. Listen to yourself. Become the exception. Push aside the rule. Make yourself better. Change your behaviors. Put in tons and tons of effort and then just keep going. That's it. That's all you need to do. And you'll get to where you're trying to go. You'll achieve those results. You'll get that success you want. That's what'll get there. That's it, my friends. That's good. Good one today. I appreciate you guys. Make sure you share this with anybody else who needs help as well. And until next time, go win today.